Out that I can actually use this machine to make a ravel-proof hem simply by folding. This is a piece of wool, folding it over and punching it to itself. Now, I knew you could do this with wool by hand, but frankly it's just too time consuming. And we're done. That's not, I can pull it apart at this point because I've gone over once. If I went over this a couple more times, there's a texture change, of course, on this side. I can go over it again, this time from the right side. And this is much, much faster. That, you'd have to deliberately pull this apart, which you could probably do with anything. We're going to try it with silk. So basically what we've got here is a piece of silk on silk. Try to get some of the loose threads out of the way. Not that they'll supposedly hurt it. It does change the texture a little bit, so there are reasons you might want to do a regular hem, but just to see how this works. Of course, in actual production, I'd be pinning it and making sure it was even and, you know, all those fancy things.
It's probably worth mentioning that, as you can see by looking at the plate, there's no feed dogs on this thing. Namely, you can run this in any direction you want. The fabric is moving because you are moving it, not because the feed dogs are moving it at a particular rate.
Yeah, any feed dogs would almost by definition be a hindrance, since you're doing free motion embroidery where you move around. It's very much the same as an embroidery machine or when you drop the feed dogs on your sewing machine. You are moving it because you move it. Otherwise it just will punch in the same place. This is a little stiffer than the fabric itself. It doesn't drape as much, but if I wanted a stiffer hem, instead of adding a stiffener or a horsehair braid, I could always do this. That was fast. And this is how you would adhere two pieces of fabric without laying any of the other fibers over it. Although obviously if I laid a piece of wool over this, it would disguise the edge.